Hello Atkins, Bryce here. Well, it is prom season, that time of year when emotionally unstable, neurotic teenagers gather into large groups to awkwardly shuffle around, trying to make sure that no one realizes that they really can't dance. In other words, it sounds like fun. I'm Bryce Mitchell, and this is The Adequate Show. In the United States, a promenade dance, most commonly called a prom, is a semi-formal dance gathering of high school students. This event is typically held near the end of the senior year. Now, if you're wondering if I'm just reading the Wikipedia page on proms, well, I am. You see, I have never gone to one. You might think it's because homeschoolers don't have proms. But we do. Sort of. You might think it was because I could never get a date. No, I was turning girls away, actually. You might think it's because my parents would disown me if I ever went to one. Well, you'd be wrong. Except maybe that disowning part? It is because it is not good for my public image. You see, there are girls at proms, or so I've heard, and if I went to a party with girls, not only would it ruin my image of being a committed bachelor, comedian, and jerk, but I might also become so comfortable around girls that I could look them in the eye without fainting dead away, or even talk to them. It just would not be right for me to talk to a girl. I might start having a good time, or even enjoy it. Even without going to proms, it is hard enough to be a committed bachelor, comedian, and jerk, except maybe that jerk part, that comes naturally. I've heard that lately, prom has become quite a big deal, with teens doing elaborate things like putting on clothes that aren't pre-ripped to shreds, and wearing ties. Though I can't blame them for that. If I was going to publicly humiliate myself, I'd want to do it in style too. So I wanted to know what made prom such a big deal, other than, Hollywood saying it was such a big deal. So I went to a school and interviewed an average teen on what he was looking forward to at prom. He said, quote, "I'm looking forward to spending hundreds of dollars renting a limo and tux to go to an overrated social event where I will sit in a chair and mindlessly wander through the corridors of social media." Unquote. When pressed how this was different than any other night in his mundane life, he realized that his mundane life amounted to nothing, and that the only difference is he'll be out a few $100. He promptly erupted into tears and fled to his school's nearest safe space. Luckily, however, he ran into a teacher who gave him a participation trophy for being the miserable piece of human debris that he is. This boosted his self-esteem, and after some therapy, he is doing fine. Okay, I made that up. His parents will be out a few $100. Now, I have carefully studied high school proms, and by study I mean I've seen the prom scene in Napoleon Dynamite and the latest Spider-Man? Or was that about Homecoming? It doesn't matter. Here are 3 simple tips that will keep you from making a fool of yourself, or just help you make a smaller fool of yourself. I mean, let's be realistic here. 1. If you cannot dance, do not worry. No one else can dance either. Stick with these 3 simple dance moves. The I don't know how to dance awkward wedding shuffle, the Phineas and Ferb, and if you're into dubstep, a dance of my own invention called the typewriter. 2. If you can't get a date, you're hosed. I'm kidding. Just say you're taking a friend. 3. Just don't go. Just don't do it, please. In the words of Aristotle, quote, "Prom is a fantastic idea, except for the angsty teenagers and the awkward dancing. So pretty much all of it," unquote. I found that quote somewhere on the internet. Now, homeschoolers do have their own prom. I'm not sure what it is like, but I do know that if teenagers are the most awkward of people, homeschoolers are the most awkward of teenagers. Now, I can say that, of course, because I'm homeschooled. I have been invited to this homeschooler prom by a girl nonetheless. I replied, quote, "No," unquote. When asked why I would not grace the prom with my presence, I replied, quote, "If I dance with girls, they will get crushes on me," unquote. I almost replied with, quote, "The girls that are there are tolerable, I suppose, but not nearly handsome enough to tempt me," unquote, with the grace and tact of Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. However, I did not want to give her the idea that she was tolerable. I have, however, participated in an annual square dance event, which was the prom equivalent for families who don't believe in prom, since square dancing is so much more family-friendly than a prom, right? Well, although it was attended by families, the high schoolers would still pair up, the equivalent of getting a date, and then form their own squares. So, pretty much a prom, just with everyone's parents watching. Now, you might be thinking, Bryce, how did you justify this? How is this any better than a prom? Well, believe me, it's vastly superior to a prom, because in square dancing, you switch partners, allowing you to try everyone in your square. You can even go dancing with your sister, and just make sure you're in the same square as a girl you like, and then you get to dance with her. Not that I've ever done that. In all seriousness, though, if you're going to a prom, I hope you have a fantastic time. And remember, dance like no one's watching, because no one is. they're all on their phones. I'm Bryce Mitchell, and this has been The Adequate Show. Thanks for watching.